Harold, I'm going to interview you, and I want you to tell me about your World War II experiences. And I'll just let you start and just start in talking. Go.
Well,
That's okay.
I don't have much to say. It was an experience that I didn't care for, and yes, I'm no good at talking.
No, you talked good a while ago.
Yeah,
Okay, but you want me to ask you questions?
yeah,
Okay, and then we'll just practice.
yeah.
Tell me about your first combat experience at Antip, New Guinea.
Oh, I just remember riding on the LST a few miles, and went over there, and we were there all night, and so the troops, they went out and did something, and I don't know what they did, but I didn't have anything to do that special.
Okay, that would be something you talk about. Now, tell me about when your tent, the mortar came through your tent.
Well, you want me to tell you about the digging the ditch?
Oh yeah, dig all that. Just everything you want to tell me.
We dug that ditch around there, and it was 6 foot deep, or you could stand up and look over it. And that's what you're supposed to do, is to see the Japanese coming at us from low angles. And of course, I was only knew about I was right at the ocean, and the Japanese came in, and they killed 6 Japanese. That's what they found the next morning, laying out there. And they said somebody shoot the Japanese, and they'd drag them off so you didn't see how many they lost. But there was some come into our area. They broke into our area, and our ships were out in the ocean there, anchored. And so the Japanese, they captured one of our 50 caliber machine guns. And I guess they didn't know much about a machine gun, but they shot it, and didn't let the barrel cool off, and the barrel just melted, or it got red hot. Well, they were shooting at the ships out there, and it killed 16 of our people that night. There was some of our people was working in trucks and driving into the area, and they had a load of men in a truck, and they chopped a tree down across the makeshift road we had in the jungle, and halted the truck, and the men jumped out and started running, and they started to killing them, and they killed 16 of them.
Okay. Now, Harold, tell me about your job. What did you do? Your main job?
I ran the power shovel, and it had a 60-foot boom on it, one of the attachments, and it had the power shovel attachment, and I loaded trucks, and the trucks would back up to the big ravine and dump it, drive away, and the next one would back, and they had a bulldozer there to level it off, and they backed up and dumped it, and just backed up and dumped it. That's the way they filled them. They backed up and dumped them.
Mm-hmm. Now, what you built airports?
Airstrips, yes, and roads.
Did you have any close calls while you were operating that shovel?
Oh yeah, the airplane flew over and dropped bombs and hit the gas dump, and then this soldier, this Japanese soldier, he was going to kill me. That's all I know about.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a lot more things happened, but.
Okay, Harold, tell me a little bit about when you went back to the Philippines, Manila. You came back and you found some concentration camps. Tell me about those camps, prisoner of war camps.
You know, I just don't remember anything about the camp. It was right in Manila, I know that, right in town, where the men were being kept. And I remember walking out with the men, the prisoners of war, and we put them on jeeps and so forth and took them somewhere. And I suppose they fed them and bathed them. And
were they nourished? Did they look malnourished? Were they skinny?
what?
Were those soldiers?
Oh,
Yeah, what were they?
oh yeah.
They were hungry.
So thin they couldn't walk. They hadn't been fed, and they were barely maneuverable. You know, could barely walk.
Mm-hmm. Harold, what did you know or hear about the atomic bomb?
I just heard that it was a new bomb and a terrible bomb, and killed thousands of people.
I'm going to ask you this question. Do you think that was the right thing to do? Do you think that was the right thing to do, to drop those bombs?
Sure. I certainly do.
Good.
It saved a lot of other lives because people were being killed all the time.
Right.
It's just like now. If they didn't have the vaccine, the people would keep dying.
That's right. When the war was over, you went to Japan during the occupation of Japan.
Yeah.
And what did you do there?
Well, they sent us in there to keep peace, make sure the Japanese did what they were supposed to do, and then we built a ball diamond, I remember, and did some road work with our machinery. But our machines was so big and their streets are so narrow that we couldn't drive down their streets. We loaded back up. We landed in Wakayama, and the streets were too narrow. So we had to load back up and go back over to Nagoya and unload it over there, and that was a bigger part of the city. And Nagoya is a city about like Chicago. And from there I went in the hospital with my hand. I had boils on me from eating bad food. That's all I had was poor food down there, and I got a lot of boils from it.
Okay.
And that's where I heard about penicillin, and I remember him waking me up every 3 or 4 hours, whatever it was, to give me a shot.
The